I now declare the Paul DeCamp Community College commencement exercises open. Please stand for the national anthem and remain standing for the invocation.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Very great. Thank you. Thank you. Dr. Carl Sweat, will you now provide the invocation?
Though we are many, allow our hearts and our minds to be united as one. In the aftermath of all that has taken place in our country and on many campuses, we pause this night at the heartbeat of celebration. Much have been offered and much effort has been given to reach this journey in by our students, our staff, our faculty. No one could accomplish it alone. Therefore, we offer thanks to our students' support system. We offer thanks to our college's sponsorers. We offer thanks to the community, for where would we be without you? Our Lord and our Father, remind our graduates that they are to be beacons of light in this world. Therefore, as they leave this place, allow them to brighten up their jobs, allow them to enlighten their inner circles of social interaction, allow them to encourage through their intellect, brighten up the places that they will venture from this institution forward. We ask this by your grace. We know that it will be done by your mercy. Amen.
Thank you, Dr. Sweat. Please be seated. It is now my pleasure to present Dr. Paul Conco, President of Paul DeCamp Community College.
Thank you. Good evening. We are delighted to see everyone here tonight. At this time, Mr. Richard Brooks, chair of our local college board, will bring a welcome from the board and introduce our platform and special guest. Mr. Brooks.
Thank you, Dr. Conco. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, graduates, faculty, honored guests. I'm happy to welcome all of you to the 43rd commencement honoring the 2014 graduates of Paul DeCamp Community College. Tonight, we have some regional elected officials with us. Please stand when I call your name. Ms. Mary Hilliard of Franklin City Council. Ms. Mona Murphy, Franklin City Council. Barry Porter, Southampton County Board of Supervisors, and Ms. Johnson, Mayor of Franklin City. It is now my honor to introduce to you our platform guests for this evening. Please hold your applause until all have been introduced. Beginning on my far right, Professor Robert Turman, Chief Marshal. Mrs. Felicia Blow, Vice President of Institutional Advancement. Dr. Larry G. Dothrow, I said that right. President of the Virginia Tidewater Consortium for Higher Education, and our keynote speaker, and of course, our president, Dr. Paul Conco. On my far left, Mrs. Trina Jones, Dean of Student Services, Mr. Ricky Brockington, an officer with the Omega Zeta chapter of the college's Phi Theta Kappa Honor Society. Ms. Pamela R. Reed, our 2014 student speaker. Dr. Carl Sweat, coordinator of the college's Smithfield Center, and Dr. Tara Atkins Brady, Vice President of Academic and Student Development. I also invite to stand a very special guest with us tonight, Ms. Crystal Twitty. Ms. Twitty is an Associate System Counsel for the Virginia Community College System and has a relative graduating with us tonight. Thank you. We will now recognize our local college board. Not all members could be here tonight, but those present will stand when their names are called. Please hold your applause until all have been introduced. Representing the city of Franklin, Asa Johnson, Philip Page, June Fleming. Representing Isle of Wight County, Caroline Hurt, Patricia Sowell, Lynn Jones. Representing Southampton County, Meredith Phelps, Jr., Saritha Wright, Keisha P. Watford. Representing the city of Suffolk, Donald Mills, James Samuel Glascott, Kermit Hobbs, and Richard Brooks. Also with us tonight are some of the Paul D. Camp Community College Foundation Board members. Will you all please stand and be recognized? Foundation Board members. Thank you.
At this time, we're pleased to present a few awards that acknowledge significant personal contributions of several individuals to the college and the community. First, we recognize the Paul D. Camp Community College's 2013 Virginia Community College Association Showcase winners. Each year at its convention, this association recognizes outstanding faculty and staff from each of the 23 colleges in the Virginia Community College system. This year, we had several members of our college family who received recognition. At this time, I invite our 4 2013 Showcase honorees to join me on the stage. Please hold your applause until they are all recognized. Our first award recipient is Mrs. Madeline Marks, Tutor Coordinator, Student Support Services. Next recipient is Mr. Troy Hand, Librarian of our Learning Library Commons. Next, we have Mrs. LaQuisha McLeod, Admission Support Assistant at our Suffolk Hobbs campus. And finally, we have Mrs. Angela Lawhorn, Coordinator of our Career Development Center. Congratulations to you all. And now, Mrs. Sandra Walker, would you please join me on the platform? I am very pleased to announce that Mrs. Walker has been selected by a committee of her peers at Pauldy Camp Community College to receive the 2013-14 Award for Excellence in Education. Mrs. Sandra Walker is a college success coach for the Hobbs Suffolk campus. She is a veteran of the U.S. Army. She is also a first-generation college student who has earned a Bachelor of Arts degree from Western Illinois University and a Master of Science degree from Troy University. Ms. Walker is completing her doctoral studies in higher education and adult learning at Walden University. As noted, she was voted by her peers to receive this wonderful recognition. Please join me in congratulating Mrs. Sandra Walker on her selection as the 2014 Pauldy Camp Community College Excellence in Education Award. Mr. E. Warren Beal, would you please join me on the stage? It is my great pleasure to present the 2014 J. Paul Council Jr. Community Service Award to Mr. Warren Beal. Now, let me tell you a little bit about him. Mr. Beal is a graduate of Virginia Polytechnic Institute and holds a Bachelor of Science degree in Business Administration, and he also holds the Certified Insurance Counselor designation. In terms of professional duties, Mr. Beal now serves as Executive Vice President of Manry Rawls. He is, however, past president and CEO of this firm, a role he held from 1988 to 2011. In terms of community and board service, Mr. Beal is active in numerous community organizations. Mr. Beal serves as chairman of the Franklin Southampton Economic Development Corporation. He's also chairman of the Franklin Southampton Charities Board. He is currently a board member of the Franklin Southampton Chamber Foundation, the Village at Woods Edge, the Franklin Business Incubator, and the Pauldy Camp Community College Regional Workforce Development Council. And at one time, Mr. Beal served as mayor of the town of Cortland. I could go on with a numerous list of Mr. Beal's board service, but I would be listing accolades for a very long time. Just let me say that over many decades, Mr. Warren Beal has facilitated and supported ways to improve the quality of life in the Franklin Southampton area. He is a supporter and friend of the college and is a wonderful recipient of this award. Congratulations. At this time, I would like to recognize our newest Professor Emeritus. The designation of Professor Emeritus is a rare honor given to a retired college faculty member or administrator who has made significant and long-term contributions to the college and community. This year, we recognize the outstanding educational contributions of Ms. Martha Kello. Professor Kello, please come to the stage. A native of Southampton County, Ms. Kello earned a Master of Arts degree from Virginia Tech, a Master of Science degree from Radford University, and a certification of Advanced Graduate Studies from Virginia Tech. She spent approximately 5 years as assistant professor at Concord University in Athens, West Virginia, teaching reading methods courses. Ms. Kello has been extremely active in the community and at the college, including spearheading other organizations such as the Franklin Southampton Reading Council. In reminiscing on her PDC experience, she said, quote, "Like Dorothy in the Land of Oz, I decided there was no place like home, so I became an assistant professor of developmental studies at the college in 1988. After 25 years of teaching at Paul D. Camp Community College, Ms. Kello retired as an associate professor of early childhood development and reading. And now it is with great pride and respect that the appointment of Professor Emeritus is conferred on Ms. Kello with all its rights and privileges. At this time, I'd like to invite to the podium our Dean of Student Services, Mrs. Trina Jones.
And now, it is my pleasure to introduce our student graduation speaker, Mrs. Pamela Renee Reed. Mrs. Reed is a resident of Suffolk, Virginia, is the wife of Mr. Darrell Reed Sr., and the mother of 4 beautiful children and a foster parent to many. She is a 1984 graduate of John F. Kennedy High School. Pamela has been a student at Paul D. Camp Community College since 2011. She is a member of the Phi Theta Kappa Honor Society and has served as a presidential student ambassador for 3 years. She has represented the college at the Virginia General Assembly and is currently a work-study student in the Financial Aid Office on the Suffolk Hobbs campus. Graduating today with a career certificate in phlebotomy, she plans to continue her studies with a focus on early childhood education and criminal law. She wants to one day open a home that would offer services and stability to foster children and the elderly and those less fortunate. Please give a warm welcome to our 2014 student speaker, Ms. Pamela Renee Reed.
Good afternoon to my fellow graduates and honored guests. My name is Pamela Reed. I am graduating tonight with a Career Studies Certificate in Phlebotomy. This evening, I want to briefly talk to you about something that we all have in common. You may ask the question, what could that be? Well, fabric. Yes, I said it, fabric. My question to you is, what kind of fabric are you? The word fabric has 2 meanings. It is described as various materials by nature, structured, or a mixture of both. Fabric comes in many shades of colors, types, and prints. We all here on today are no different than the fabric we are wearing. We come from different cultures, nationalities, and backgrounds. We are a school of diversity. We have no barriers, for we are here to accomplish a set goal. If I were to describe the word fabric in letters, it would read as such. F, the framework of our foundation. A, academic success. B, bold enough to stand against all odds. R, responsibility. I, that inward part of you that is motivated enough to push forward. C, commitment. Tonight, we have no excuse because we have the resources we need for success. The tests and trials that you go through will reveal the real you. Now, we have the good fabric versus the bad fabric. The solid patterns are our foundation. They are your counselors, professors, fellow students, family, friends, and community. The abstract pattern is bold. It stands alone. Sometimes on this journey, we have to walk alone to see what is ahead. The block pattern is just what it says. Many things come in our lives to block us from doing something positive, and those blocks come in many forms, by way of family, transportation, and the list goes on and on. And we may feel as if though we want to say, forget it. Well, guess what? I said those words. I said, forget it. I said, I'm done. But I happened to say it to the right person, my counselor, Dr. Hyler Scott. But she was not having it. She looked at me with those eyes and told me that quitting was not an option. And I did take those words that she said to me, and I ran with it. To my fellow graduates and future students alike, are you willing to step over and around those blocks and keep it moving? Look at your neighbor and ask the question, what kind of fabric are you? You see, I tried to look at things with the physical eye, but I learned I had to walk by faith and not by sight. It's just like that camouflage material. It's just a cover-up for the best is yet to come. What may look like a breakdown to you, when God finishes with it, it will be a breakthrough. As I speak to you on this evening, let us thread our needles using the resources we have learned to weave a new life of success. Many of you listening on tonight will leave here with a new perspective on life. Take a look at me. A real good look. I look good, don't I? Thank you. I returned to college at the age of 42. Now here I stand at 47, a proud student, oh yes I am, graduating with honors, a student ambassador 3 years running, on the vice president's list, and the first in my family to attend college and graduate. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? What kind of fabric am I? Well, I'm just glad you asked. I am like that denim material. I have been stretched beyond my limit. Yes, I've been bent, but guess what? I didn't break. I am like that silk fabric that is known for its beauty and its strength. I can hold up in any type of weather. As I talk to you on tonight, graduates, young and old. Did I say young? Yes, I did. It is never too late for an education. Even after tonight, graduation, it does not stop here. Learning does not stop here. It is a forever learning experience. So I say to you, you and you, get an education. It will change your life. Will you be like that cotton material that is durable? Cotton is the fabric of our lives. We must be mindful of the type of material that we are wearing. You see, I cannot wear any kind of fabric. I love to dress, whether it's shoes or clothes. And I know that's right, Donna Douglas. You cannot judge a fabric by its name. You cannot judge a person by its looks. for the outward appearance of a person does not reflect the real identity of that individual. Like the saying goes, looks are deceiving. On the behalf of the 2014 graduating class of Paul D. Camp, we ponder the different fabrics that are represented here today. But we, the students, would like to inform you that we are a mixture of fabric sewn by the best seamstress in the business, the counselors, the professors, friends, and family, last but not least, ourselves. So in my closing, I say to every man, woman, boy, and girl, what kind of fabric are you? Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Reed. That was wonderful. Yeah. And now I'd like to invite forward Mrs. Felicia Blow, Vice President of Institutional Advancement.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you, Dr. Conco. Before I introduce our keynote speaker, I'd like to say a few brief words about our alumni. We thank all of our current Alumni Association, as well as the former leaders and officers of the Alumni Society. You've been instrumental in its success to date, and the Office of Institutional Advancement is busy creating tools that will help keep our alumni engaged. Thank you for all of your past, current, and hopefully future efforts to maintain an active and vibrant Paul D. Camp Community College Alumni Association. And welcome. Told you that last night. Welcome soon-to-be graduates, as you are among the newest members of the Paul D. Camp Community College Alumni Association. Give yourselves a hand. And boy, was that speech by Ms. Pamela not wonderful. Another round of applause. So, we were chatting over there, and Mr. Turman said, boy, I'm glad I don't have to follow that speaker. And Dr. Dodolo said, but I do. So in the hall before I came and I asked him, I said, and some of you guys may remember this phrase, are you guys going to bring the noise tonight? You all know what that means? And she brought it, and we're looking forward to you bringing it. So let me tell you a little bit about our keynote speaker. Dr. Lawrence G. Dodolo is president of the Virginia Tidewater Consortium for Higher Education. This is a consortium of 15 institutions located in the Hampton Roads area of Virginia. He's been president of the Virginia Tidewater Consortium since 1975. He has an extensive experience in consortia work and has made many presentations on the importance of consortia in higher education. In 2007, he received the Association for Consortiums Leadership's Pioneer Award for his contribution to the enhancement of collaboration in higher education. And in December 2012, he received the distinguished John F. Nossinger Memorial Award for his continuous effort to promote cooperation in higher education at the national level. He has edited 3 books dealing with the importance of consortia in higher education. And in addition, he's managed a multitude of projects, especially those dealing with access to higher education. He established the Virginia Tidewater Consortium for Higher Education's Summer Institute on College Teaching, which has been in continuous operation since 1979. Further, Dr. Dodolo is host of the Virginia Tidewater Consortium's television program, Inside Higher Education in Hampton Roads, that promotes higher education in the region. Dr. Dodolo is a professor of English at Old Dominion University and holds a doctorate in American literature from Marquette University. And one really, really important thing that's not listed in your program booklet, he, like me, is a Dallas Cowboys fan. Woo! So, without further ado,
Thank you very much. I was a little worried there. I'm glad Pamela came up because I thought you guys were pretty solemn. You know, you're graduating. It's great. I want to say thank you for inviting me. I think it was pretty nice. But I want to dispel the rumor that I was the 10th choice. That's not really true. I think it was the 5th. Dr. Conco, asked me to speak, probably back in January sometime, and I said I would. He said, don't talk longer than an hour. I said, well, don't worry about that because I want to go home and see the NFL draft. And Alan Harris, Professor Harris, said, Larry, if you go more than 15 minutes, I'm going to stand up and give you the cut sign. So let me just say, Paul DeCamp has a special place in my heart. I was hired back in 1975, if you can believe that, probably older than some of the parents of the kids here. And Dr. Perry Adams, the first president of Paul DeCamp Community College, hired me. And in fact, we had a little dinner there before the ceremony. I'm sorry that you guys didn't get invited, but anyway. And on the wall is a picture of every president of Paul DeCamp. You know something? I knew every single one of them. So, but, my very favorite, best guy is Dr. Conco. Is he laughing? Okay. I'm not here to talk about history, though. Rather, I'm here to give you a little advice, I hope, and talk about some things I think of interest. First off, just call me Dr. D. Say, Dr. D. Can you say that? There you go, because you'll never remember my name. And number two, you probably don't remember what I'll talk about, but I hope you will. I've been to countless speeches by people, during graduation. I have to be real honest. I don't remember very many of them. And in fact, the other day, I got in a discussion with one of my colleagues from an institution in Norfolk. You can guess which one. And we were arguing over who was commencement speaker. Now, we were both at the commencement, and we both got it wrong. So anyway, so just remember Dr. D. Now, my topic is lifelong learning. Repeat after me. What is my topic? Lifelong learning. Okay. Now, the other thing they didn't tell you here, I'm going to give you a test after I'm done. Okay? Just to see, just the students, not the parents. I don't want to panic them. Just the students. And so, you need to take notes. Everything's going to be on the test. I always find that remarkable, though, because I have students who miss 2 weeks of class, and they show up and say, Dr. D, did I miss anything important? I said, don't worry about it. You'll be all right. Yeah, I see some of my faculty friends will be smiling. Okay. All right, so lifelong learning, it's important, but Dr. D, what the heck is it? Do I have to go to school the rest of my life? Well, maybe. You might have to. But you started your lifelong learning here at Paul DeCamp. You have been bitten by the education bug called lifelong learning. And it has symptoms. Let me tell you a few of those symptoms. First, you like learning. 2, you're curious about your environment. You have a strong desire to learn new things. And yes, even to continue your education. Of course, now we have technology. Man, you got everything at your fingertips. And it's a little frightening sometimes, especially for us old people. But it's great. I like it when I can't remember something in class and I ask one of my students, can you look this up quick so I don't seem like I'm losing my mind? And they usually find it right away and they help me out. English professors, sometimes we get things mixed up, and so it takes a while to pay attention to that. But what's good about lifelong learning? You get a sense of personal accomplishment. All of you have accomplished something. You have that bug, and you're going to continue. Now, let me give you a couple stories. One, my mother. God rest her soul, it's been many years since she passed away. All of us, we come from an Italian family, second generation. Everybody went to college except my mother. My father was a doctor, my brother's a doctor, we're all doing something. And my mother was sort of left out. So one time we came home for summer vacation, my mother's reading college textbooks. Can you imagine that? I can't get my students to read the book, let alone my mother. So my mother was reading college textbooks. She said, you know, I think I want to go to college. Mom, you sure you want to do that? Oh, yes. So she dragged my father, and he had to drive her 45 miles each way for 3 days a week, extension school. Then she decided, you know, I want to go full-time. So you know she graduated with one of my sisters 6 years later and became an elementary school teacher. Yeah. And then after that, my mother liked to, you know, go to meetings and discussions and lectures. She had the lifelong education bug, and I think she spread it in our family. My second story. Now, I teach English at Old Dominion University, one class in the evening. You know, do you believe in karma, like things are sort of like coincidental sometimes? So in my class, there is a student. I won't give you his name. His name is Frank. Frank graduated from Paul DeCamp Community College. Like, how weird. I said, Frank, I'm giving a talk, so don't tell him my name. Okay, I won't. I said, Frank, let me ask you a question. Why now? He's 57 years old. You know what he said to me? He said, Dr. D, I've been a machinist for 35 years. And I said to myself, you know, there's something missing in my life. And I wanted to go to college. I wanted to discuss things and meet with other people. So he's working on his 4-year degree, and I think it's great. He says it's been life-changing for me. So I think that's great. Third story, I have another student in that class, and we'll tell you, his name is Corey. And I was talking to him after class, at the exam, and I said, Corey, how you doing? He says, fine, Dr. D. He says, I'm tired, though. I said, why? He says, well, you know, I went to school with an apprenticeship program. I was a pipe fitter at the shipyard. Now I'm working on my 4-year degree. He said, I said, why? He said, because I just got that drive. That is the lifelong learning bug, okay? That's what happens. So your time here at Paul DeCamp has been life-changing. And, you know, we all know you have to continue education to succeed. I believe post-secondary education is a passport to the future. And we need it. When we go to that country of the future, we need to be adaptable. You know, you think about some of these companies that are not doing so well. Blockbusters, you guys remember that? You been on Blockbusters lately? No, they're gone. Radio Shack, you might have one here still, but they're going to be disappearing soon. So what happens is things change, and you need to be adaptable. And lifelong learning and post-secondary education gives you that way. And so that's what you always got to keep in mind. Now, of course, I would not be a professor if I didn't give you some kind of study. You know, we're always doing studies. Put them in a book, and maybe we'll get tenure. Of course, about 1% of the people in the world ever read that stuff. But here we go. The University of Bristol in England, they did a study of lifelong learning. How about that? I found that very convenient since I was giving a talk. And they said, first off, it helps you grow. Growth orientation. It's exercise for your mind. It's like that website, Luminosity. You know, you sign up for it, and you know they give you exercises, etc. He says it stimulates your brain. Second, it creates curiosity. Lifelong learning makes you curious about things. I think that's right. Third thing they say is if you have lifelong learning, you understand things in life and where things fit. Now, I'm not so sure I agree with the next one. They say you make you more creative. Boy, I've been to school a long time. I'm not all that creative, but maybe it does help some people. But the last thing is they said, you know, you can learn in groups and learn by yourself. But it's important that you learn and keep on learning. Now, I tell people, I'm a great reader, but I read prose fiction, okay, and nonfiction. And I like nonfiction sometimes. So I'm going to give you a name of 2 books. These are really tough to remember. 1491, the year before Columbus, and 1493, the year after Columbus. Written by the same guy, Charles Mann. He spoke at Old Dominion not too long ago. What's interesting about this book from 1491, quick aside, when the explorers came and they went down the Atlantic, they came across and they saw a lot of lights along the coast. And they say, hey, we're not going to put in here. Too many people live there. All up and down North America and South America, a lot of people live, a lot of Native Americans. 150 years later, the settlers come. What happened to all those lights? They're gone. Well, what happened is the explorers went ashore, spread germs, diseases, and a lot of those people disappeared. That's from 1491. 1493, Charles Mann said, the largest fleet naval fleet in the world in the 15th century and 16th century were the Chinese. The largest fleet in the world. You know, most of us think it was the Spanish Armada. No, it was the Chinese. So if you have a chance sometime, read those books. But let me be clear. Lifelong learning is no guarantee you're going to live the life of the successful people, you know, the rich and famous. It gives you the opportunity to succeed or to fail, but it's up to you. You know, Paul DeCamp has given you that start, and it's a great place. Let me just say that being an English professor, I know, oh God, he's going to quote some poem. Yes, I am. Alfred Lord Tennyson wrote a poem called Ulysses. Ulysses it's a monologue, and he's talking. Ulysses says to his men, now he's older, he's on an island, and he doesn't want to go to assisted living with his friends. He said, let's go on one last great adventure. And the last lines of the poem, and this should be our guidepost for all of us, to strive, to seek, to find, and not to yield. I wish you guys the best of luck, and remember, lifelong learning. Thank you. Whoop.
Thank you, Dr. D. A wonderful message for all of us. And now, Mr. Ricky Brockington, an officer of the Paul DeCamp Community College's Omega Zeta chapter of Phi Theta Kappa Honor Society, will present those students who have distinguished themselves through their academic achievement. Ricky?
I don't know those people. Good Lord, you're all tiny. All right. It gives me great pleasure to recognize your honor graduates of 2014 Paul DeCamp Community College graduating class. Inside your program is a listing of all honor graduates and the levels of honor. Our cum laude graduates have earned a 3.2 to 3.49 cumulative grade point average. Will all of our cum laude graduates please stand? Please join me in congratulating for their outstanding academic achievement. Our magna cum laude graduates have earned a 3.5 to 3.79 cumulative grade point average. Will all of our magna cum laude graduates please stand? And our summa cum laude graduates have earned a 3.8 to 4.0 for a cumulative grade point average. Now, will all of our summa cum laude graduates please stand? Awesome. Finally, we recognize our graduates who are members of Phi Theta Kappa, the International Honor Society for two-year college students. Phi Theta Kappa provides opportunities for leadership development and service, fellowship among scholars, and it also encourages the pursuit of continued academic excellence. Graduating members of Phi Theta Kappa Honor Society, please stand. I'd like everyone to please join me in congratulating these and all of our honor graduates for their academic achievement, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Ricky. And now I'd like to recognize our graduates who've served in the military and have veteran status. Paul DeCamp Community College embraces our students who are military service members or who are veterans. They have committed to serving our country and deserve our commitment to provide a supportive environment. We are dedicated to their success, humbled by their experiences, honored by their presence and thankful for their service. This year, for the first time, we have provided special cords to recognize veterans. Will all those in the Paul D. Camp graduating class who are military service members or veterans, please stand. And now, for those who've served in the armed forces or are active duty that are in our audience, please stand as well so we can recognize you. Thank you all for your service to our country. And now, Dr. Atkins Brady, Vice President of Academic and Student Development, will now greet the graduates, faculty, family, and friends.
It gives me great pleasure to greet the graduates who have worked so hard to make this commencement a reality. My congratulations to each of you who are graduating this evening. May you have much success in your future endeavors. Would the faculty members who have prepared these students please rise? Please join me in thanking our faculty. Whenever a person attains a goal, there is usually someone or many persons who assist them in reaching this goal. So would the family, friends, and significant others who have been instrumental in helping these graduates attain this goal, please rise to be recognized. At this time, we'd like to recognize students graduating from our dual enrollment program. Dual enrollment is a program that allows qualified high school students to simultaneously enroll in college courses while still in high school. House Bill 1184 requires all school systems to have dual enrollment agreements with their local community colleges. Tonight, each Paul D. Camp Community College dual enrollment graduate has received a special medallion from the college for this tremendous honor. In addition, we will present our dual enrollment graduates with special governor's medallions at their high school graduations. Now we would like to recognize students who will receive a one-year certificate or two-year degree from Paul D. Camp Community College before their high school commencements. Will you each please stand as I call your name, and please remain standing until all names have been called. Benjamin Cutchins of Southampton High School. Samantha Billups of Southampton High School. Amira Stevens of Franklin High School. Deja Langford of Kings Fork High School. Joshua Graham of Kings Fork High School. Malika Kareem of Nansemond River High School. Ashley Wood of Nansemond River High School. And Madeline Kimlick, a homeschooled student. Please join me once again in congratulating all of them on their noteworthy achievements.
Thank you, Dr. Atkins Brady. It is now time to confer the degrees and certificates on our graduates. Dr. Atkins Brady.
Will the candidates for the Associate in Applied Science degree and the Associate in Arts and Science degree please stand? Dr. Conco, having met all the requirements as set forth by the Virginia State Board for Community Colleges and on the recommendation of our faculty, I present the candidates for Associate in Applied Science degree and the Associate in Arts and Science degree.
by the authority vested in me by the Commonwealth of Virginia and the State Board for Community Colleges and the Pauldy Camp Community College Local Board, I do hereby confer upon you the degree of Associate in Applied Science or the degree of Associate in Arts and Sciences to which you are entitled, with all the rights and responsibilities thereunto appertaining. Please be seated.
Will all the candidates for certificates please rise? Having met all the requirements as set forth by the Virginia State Board for Community Colleges and on the recommendation of our faculty, I present the candidates for certificates.
By the authority vested in me by the Commonwealth of Virginia and the State Board for Community Colleges and the Pauldy Camp Community College Local Board, I do hereby confer upon you the certificate to which you are entitled, with all the rights and responsibilities thereunto appertaining. Please be seated.
Dr. Conco and Mr. Brooks will now award the degrees and certificates. Lauren Marie Banks, Business Administration, Certificate General Education, magna cum laude. Christine Lorenzo Wells, Business Administration, Certificate General Education, summa cum laude, Phi Beta Kappa. Amanda Jane Douglas, Business Administration, Certificate General Education, magna cum laude, Phi Theta Kappa.
Mother and daughter.
Vicki DeLise Best, Business Administration, Certificate General Education, magna cum laude, Phi Theta Kappa. Jasmine Levon Carey, Business Administration, Certificate General Education, cum laude. Malquita Adriana Manley, Business Administration. Mary Latina Hunter, Business Administration, Certificate General Education, cum laude. Kelly Griggs, Business Administration, Certificate General Education, cum laude. Martin Reed Carr, Business Administration, Certificate General Education, summa cum laude, Phi Theta Kappa. Kendra Monet Silver, Business Administration, Certificate General Education, magna cum laude, Phi Theta Kappa. Amanda Michelle Sowerby, Education, Certificate, General Education, cum laude, Phi Theta Kappa. Shanika Scott, General Studies, General, Certificate, General Education, magna cum laude. Sebastian Wellens, General Studies, General, Certificate, General Education. Elisa Serena Jones, General Studies, General, Certificate, General Education, cum laude. Alana Lishay Stevens Jones, General Studies, General, Certificate, General Education, magna cum laude, Phi Theta Kappa. Maleka Kareem, General Studies, General, Certificate, General Education, magna cum laude. Pokita Ford, General Studies, General, Certificate, General Education. Amanda Dubinsky, General Studies, General, Certificate, General Education. Laura Marie Murphy, General Studies, General, Certificate, General Education. Carlos Lawrence, General Studies, Computer Science. Dana Vine, General Studies, Computer Science, General Studies, General, Certificate, General Education, Career Studies Certificate, Computer Support Specialist, Career Studies Certificate, Hardware and Software Support, summa cum laude. Joshua Eric Bielowitz, General Studies, Computer Science, Certificate, General Education. Nathan Gonda, General Studies, Computer Science, summa cum laude. Cynthia Denise Artis, Education, Certificate, General Education, magna cum laude, Phi Theta Kappa. Leanne Phillips Chase, Education, Certificate, General Education, magna cum laude, Phi Theta Kappa. Jaleisha Lavonda Woodhouse, Education, Certificate, General Education. Shanika Jones, General Studies. Sheldon L. Hill, General Studies, General, Certificate, General Education. Casey S. Mitchell, General Studies, General, Certificate, General Education. Miranda Wright, General Studies, Certificate, General Education. Nathan A. Harris, General Studies, General, cum laude. Stephanie Lynn Hart, General Studies, General, Certificate, General Education, cum laude. Deborah Lynn Elliott, General Studies, General, Certificate, General Education, summa cum laude. Katrina Britt, General Studies, General, Certificate, General Education. Kenya Charday Smith, General Studies, General, Certificate, General Education, magna cum laude, Phi Theta Kappa. Lavelle O. Evans, General Studies, General, Certificate, General Education. Monique Dunn, General Studies, General, Certificate, General Education, Career Studies Certificate, phlebotomy. Nikita Owen, General Studies, General, Certificate, General Education. Katisha Lavoya Davis, General Studies, General, Certificate, General Education. Ashley Lauren Georgie, General Studies, General, Certificate, General Education, magna cum laude. Amira Stevens, General Studies, General, Certificate, General Education, summa cum laude. Ruth Mwathi, Nursing. Sean Lydell Battle, Nursing. Tiffany Monique Holden, Nursing.
Brother and sister.
Tanisha Patrick, Nursing. Stephanie Monroe, Nursing. Tanisha Jenkins, Nursing. Kiara Ann Butts, Nursing. Erin Denise Rawlings, Science. Alexandra Juliana Kokich, Science, Certificate, General Education, summa cum laude, Phi Theta Kappa. Kayla Ann Baylor, Science, cum laude, Phi Theta Kappa. Benjamin Thomas Cutchins, General Studies, General, Certificate, General Education, summa cum laude. Samantha Lee Billups, General Studies, General, Certificate, General Education, summa cum laude. Scott Munn, General Studies, General, Certificate, General Education, cum laude. Madeline Kimlick, General Studies, General, Certificate, General Education, summa cum laude, Phi Theta Kappa. Dwight D. Parker, Jr., Associate of Arts and Science, General Studies, Certificate, General Education. Amy Wisnant Rose, Nursing, cum laude. Brittany Spivey, Nursing. Angela Lynn Gray, Angel Lynn Gray, Nursing, cum laude. Brimmer Elaine Gwaltney, Nursing. Brandon W. Olson, Nursing. Julia Sabo Tyrell, Nursing. Crystal Shoemate, Nursing. Connie A. Cook, Nursing, cum laude. Kayla Marie Egger, Nursing, cum laude. Chelsea Gephardt, Nursing, magna cum laude, Phi Theta Kappa. Crystal Drake Beal, Nursing. Tiffany Michelle Cowan, Nursing. Ricky D. Brockington, Nursing, magna cum laude, Phi Theta Kappa. Pebbles Nicole Cross, Administration of Justice, Corrections Science. Vester Collins, Administration of Justice, Corrections Science, magna cum laude, Phi Theta Kappa. Donna Marie Lloyd, Early Childhood Development, summa cum laude. Patricia Marie Marks, Early Childhood Development, Career Studies Certificate, Child Care 2, cum laude, Phi Theta Kappa. Jacqueline Robertson, Early Childhood Development, Certificate, Early Childhood Development Assistant, Career Studies Certificate, Child Care 1 and Child Care 2, magna cum laude, Phi Theta Kappa. Valerie D. Robinson Ford, Administrative Support Technology, Word Information Processing, Career Studies Certificate, Word Processing Technician, summa cum laude. Deborah Joyner Arrington, Administrative Support Technology, Word Information Processing, Certificate, Clerical Studies. Pablo Jose Finelli, Administration of Justice, Police Science, cum laude. John Daniel Cornwell, Jr., Administration of Justice, Police Science, summa cum laude. John Garrison Durham, Administration of Justice, Police Science, magna cum laude. Brandon Shane Mitchell, Administration of Justice, Police Science. Latasha Johnson, Administration of Justice, Police Science. Shaniqua Shanta Boyd, Administration of Justice, Corrections Science, cum laude. Leola Gill, Administration of Justice, Corrections Science. Shayla Nikel Grant, Administration of Justice, Corrections Science. Angel Janetta Dickens, Administration of Justice, Corrections Science, cum laude. Michael W. Hartman, Jr., Administration of Justice, Corrections Science. Andrew Kostelnik, Career Studies Certificate, Heating, Ventilation, and Air Conditioning. Shannon Latanya Wolf, Career Studies Certificate, Geographic Information Systems Technician, magna cum laude. Ivory Yvette Chapman, Career Studies Certificate, Computer Support Specialist. Marlena Gabrielle Sharp, Career Studies Certificate, Bookkeeping. Daria Minetsky, Career Studies Certificate, Bookkeeping. Jacob Bradshaw, Certificate, General Education, summa cum laude, Phi Theta Kappa. Ryan Walton, Certificate, Electricity, Career Studies Certificate, Professional Welder, Fabricator, Pipe, and Plate. Shelton L. Turner, Management, General Business, cum laude. Patricia A. Brown, Management, General Business. Mickey Wade Turner, Management, PC Hardware, Software Support, Career Studies Certificate, Entrepreneurship, Small Business Management, Hardware and Software Support, magna cum laude. Donovan E.A. Grant, Management, Computer Support Specialist, Career Studies Certificate, Computer Support Specialist, Entrepreneurship, Small Business Management, Hardware and Software Support, summa cum laude. Travis Pope, Electronics, Electrical. Gerald Gray, Industrial Technology, Electronic Control, Certificate, Electricity, cum laude. James C. Williams III, Industrial Technology, Electronic Control, Electronics, Electrical, Certificate, Electricity, cum laude, Phi Theta Kappa. Hannah Jane Barrett, Early Childhood Development, magna cum laude, Phi Theta Kappa. Catherine Lucia Cook, Early Childhood Development, Certificate, Early Childhood Development Assistant, Career Studies Certificate, Child Care 1, Child Care 2, magna cum laude. Audrey Denise Hart, Medical Office Specialist, summa cum laude. Shaquita Blow, Medical Office Specialist. Thank you. Teresa D. Boykins, Medical Office Specialist, magna cum laude. Sharon Denise Holloway, Medical Office Specialist. Connie Carpenter, Medical Office Specialist. Eleanor F. Hawkins, Medical Office Specialist. Tanya L. Wright, Medical Office Billing Clerk, Medical Office Specialist, cum laude. Keisha R. Giles, Career Study Certificate, Medical Office Billing Clerk, Medical Office Specialist, cum laude. Latasha Denise Spratley, Medical Office Billing Clerk, Medical Office Specialist. Shiretta Ely, Career Studies Certificate, Medical Office Billing Clerk, Medical Office Specialist. Tiffany Monique Butler, Medical Office Billing Clerk. Gloria Jeanette Sharon, Medical Office Billing Clerk, Medical Office Specialist. Tynesha Lynette Boykins Jones, Medical Office Billing Clerk, Medical Office Specialist. Rashad Nadir Tanner, Career Studies Certificate, Industrial and Residential Wiring. Deshaun Blow, Career Studies Certificate, Heating, Ventilation, and Air Conditioning. Brian Mitchell Norton, Career Studies Certificate, Heating, Ventilation, and Air Conditioning. Anthony Wayne Thomas, Pre-Nursing, magna cum laude. Coretta Shante King, Pre-Nursing, magna cum laude. Brianna Mikhail Outlaw, Career Studies Certificate, Pre-Nursing. Lisa Cooper, Pre-Nursing. Shavon Simone Wise, Pre-Nursing. Kiana Lene Turner, Pre-Nursing. Shavonna Monique Woodley, Pre-Nursing, Cum Laude. Brandy D. Main, Phlebotomy, Phi Theta Kappa. Shanae Lavette Jennings, Career Studies Certificate, Phlebotomy, Cum Laude. Angelita S. Beese, Career Studies Certificate, Phlebotomy, Pre-Nursing, Cum Laude. Marita Alicia Scott, Career Studies Certificate, Pharmacy Technician. Robert S. Finch, Career Studies Certificate, Pharmacy Technician. Jane Elizabeth Turney, Career Studies Certificate, Medical Office Specialist, Cum Laude. Pamela Renee Reed, Career Studies Certificate, Phlebotomy, Phi Theta Kappa.
Graduates, congratulations. That's my favorite part, I gotta admit. Y'all did good. Well, you know, in NASCAR, drivers look for the checkered flag. But please remember, in education, there is no finish line. Embrace that concept of lifelong learning. It is the age we live in. My thanks to Apolde Camp Community College faculty and staff, whose focus has always been on your success. You know, the nature poet William Wordsworth wrote in the early 1800s, "There is a blessing in the air that seems a sense of joy." Apt words for this evening. Your accomplishments make you part of a proud tradition of personal success that represents the best of Apolde Camp Community College. Thank you for joining past generations of graduates in recognizing the value of learning. Most of you have been employed while pursuing your program of study. Most of you have also had to balance family and community responsibilities. Thank you for persisting to achieve this milestone of success. Whatever your program of study, use what you have learned to serve others, to make your communities better, to accomplish great things. And let us know what you're doing. We love to brag on our graduates. Thank you for giving us reasons to be very proud of you. And please encourage your friends and family to follow your example and come to Paul D. Camp Community College this summer or fall. As we conclude the ceremony, I want to express my appreciation and thanks to the following who made the program such a wonderful success: our students, faculty, and staff, our presidential student ambassadors, the Smithfield High School Band under the direction of Mr. Aaron Hill, Mr. Calvin Carter of Chowan University for his singing, the Franklin Rotary Club, Barnes & Noble Bookstore, and Lakeland Air Force ROTC. And thank all of you for supporting our graduates and for supporting this college. Now, as we come to a close, I ask that the family and friends of graduates remain at your seats until all the graduates have left. Thank you for coming to show your support. As you leave the hall, you may meet your graduates outside the building where we will have light refreshments available for you. Now, Dr. Sweat, please come and give our closing benediction.
I know that wasn't for me. I remind you, where much is given, much is expected. I remind you of your responsibility. You are called to be a light to this world. Enlighten others that they can accomplish this academic journey. Lighten the roads that you will trod. Let the world know what type of fabric Paul D. Camp students are made. And keep that light burning with continuous education. Peace be with you.
The commencement exercises are now complete. Please stand and remain standing for the recessional.